I did a post the other day on Twitter. I'll just read it out. It says Western culture is a scam for men. This got 21,000 likes on it. You get up early, you pay for a house, you hardly live in it. You don't own the land it sits on. You pay a mortgage to a bank that lent you pretend money made out of thin air. You pay interest on they didn't even have on deposit in a vault. You drive a car that is primarily used to get to and from work, usually on congested and broken roads. Your tax money never seems to fix. You pay 30 to 50% in income tax to the government for a job, a job designed to keep you just over broke, while the government spends your money on programs you generally don't agree with. To buy stuff with sales tax with money you've already paid income taxes on, to impress people we don't even like with things we generally don't even care about. And if you do well with your investments with income you've already been taxed on, you pay more tax on tax in the form of capital gains tax to the government on money you took the risk on investing. All this usually to impress a woman enough to commit to you that has already shared her body with dozens of other men, that brings baggage to the table, that if you live with or marry can take half your shit, your kids, if she changes her mind about you later on down the road. This is kind of a sad reality that nobody argued with. And, I figured that I just tabled this. Like, what did you guys think of that?
Pre-COVID, I would have said it was conspiracy. Now I'm like, it's reality.
And like, I didn't even talk about everything. That was like, I tried to keep it condensed. There's a lot more you could insert in there that amplifies the BS, but people just continue going on with their day. They get up, they put gas in their car, they drive, they go to the grocery store, they pay their taxes on income they've already paid taxes on. It's surprising that they got to this point, isn't it?
I mean, it's like you want to say yes when you look at it from that 30,000 foot view, but then like when you get down like more ground floor, it's kind of weird where it's like, if people didn't do that, how would society look? Would we still have one? Would it function? Right? It's really interesting when you ask that question.
And the other thing too is that, yeah, it sucks, but I mean, like, at least I'm not working in a coal mine. I have all my fingers. Like those pyramids were built by somebody, and they probably weren't paid to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, I mean, it's kind of always sucked for people, for men especially. I think only in the last maybe 200 years did not just like people in general got the right to even vote or have some semblance of control over their lives. Before, it was only a few elite that ruled everybody.
Yeah, it's almost like the shackles that we've had have been made invisible. So, follow me through on this. Like, Big Black was just talking about the guys that built the pyramid, and were probably not paid to build them, by the way. They likely saw the shackles on their ankles, while they were doing the work. Slaves, a couple hundred years ago saw the shackles on their ankles. The human traded gladiators in, the Roman days that were also slaves, also, saw the binds that like sort of held them in place. Today, they've almost made them invisible. It's like taxation and the systems that are put in place. Sort of aligned with controlling that. You don't see them, but they exist.
Well, the other hard part too is
we're like tax cattle.
Yeah,
like we're basically livestock making tax payments and keeping the government thing going.
They just keep
we say
till you snap.
We say, times have never been better. We've never been safer, but we're also trading. Longer. Yeah, we're trading our freedoms and everything for that as well. Though we have, we're living in more and more narrow cages here as far as the things that we can and can't do with our lives as well.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think,
But there's no escaping us, right?
Right. There's no escaping it, but it's also interesting. It's, I think for, the fundamental question that we have, right, is always, do we want a society that has high security and lower freedom, or do we want more freedoms with less security, right? Mm-hmm. And I think people are more and more willing to give up a lot of their freedom for at least some, even if it's imagined, right, some semblance of actual security, right? Because I mean, that's what happened in 2020, where hey, we've got this unprecedented global event, and everyone went along with, hey, we want to feel secure. So absolutely, we will give up all of our,
even if it saves one life,
we'll give up our freedom for that feeling of security. And so that right there just shows you how willing people are to just go down the pathway.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's, true freedom is it's kind of terrifying, and it takes a lot of like responsibility and accountability, which is extremely, extremely difficult.
There's always been elites sort of pulling the strings, haven't there? Throughout history, whether it was kings or emperors or whoever it happened to be in the past 1,000 years ago, there's always been elites. It's just they sort of give you the illusion of freedom today and maneuverability and that sort of stuff. But I mean, like the whole taxation point is just the funniest part of it, because money has no real inherent value. It only has value because people agree that it has value. Like if you hold up a $20 greenback, everybody that looks at it will say, yeah, that's worth $20. And you give that to a fucking toucan Sam or a monkey or a gorilla, they'll look at it and they'll wipe their ass with it. It has absolutely no value because they all agree they don't know what it is and it has no value. So the only reason why it exists is because we all agree that there's value in it, and they keep printing it. It's, there's an unlimited supply. And again, it always brings me back to the question, if they can print an unlimited supply of this stuff, then why do they tax us with it?
There's the power to tax. Yeah.
Think about that, man.
It is.
Is that fucked up or what?
Right.
The power to tax is the power to control. But there was a tweet that went viral as well this week, Rich. I'll try and dig it up. But
50, when they taxed you like 1,000 years ago when you lived on the king's land, you actually handed him something of some value that couldn't be reproduced out of thin air like paper money, right?
Yeah. So and it's easier to increase taxes when people can't actually see some physical value.
And you got something in return, like you had your safety. There was an army that would protect you from invading forces.
But one of the reasons why they're so hell-bent on attacking and controlling, let's say, the United States and North America, is the entrepreneurial spirit over here. And there was a viral tweet from a German lady this week, and it was essentially, she said, when you're in Europe, and I can attest to this, and she said in Germany, when you're born rich, you stay rich, and when you're middle class, you can work and you can get a couple of nice things. But she said, damn, I've come here, I've done this, I've worked my butt off. And she says, now I own a company. And she was just on about how hard that would have been to do back in Europe. And a testament to that, as I said, I was in New York the other day, and about 18 years ago, I was giving this electrician work when I was with a large general contractor. I was like giving him a $50,000 contract. I spoke to him yesterday. He's got 500 employees now. That's how big he's become in almost 2 decades. It blows my mind.
Like Eastern Europe is the remaining place where you can still create a lot of wealth within Europe, right? The way that the laws, the tax structure, the society is organized in Western Europe makes it very hard to go up the ladder, much harder than even in the US or Canada. Yeah. And they have these stupid rules, like in France, if you have over a certain number of employees, you have to have what's it called, a syndicate, not union, and the union has to have a representative of on the members of the board, and it's like unbelievable. So that makes it very hard for companies to grow. It makes it very hard for people to create value. Actually, I was just looking at the stock market. Do you know that the entire DAX, the top 40 German companies together added, have a smaller market cap than Apple?
Will not be surprised.
That's insane.
And I can attest. Company. I can attest to what Dragos just said. My buddy does audio visual, and he does it on yachts, high net worth individual yachts, and they go out to sea, obviously, and the sea environment degrades stuff pretty quickly. So he's got to repair the sound systems and the audio visual systems on deck, and he does this for an Irish musician who happens to have his yacht in the south of France, and it pays this guy to bring his yacht out of French waters, drop anchor, and fly my buddy in from New York, because the guy that does all the repairs in France, he can't hire kids for the summer, because if he hires someone for the summer, he's got to give him a job for life under French law. And the guy's just, look, I need some teenagers for the summer to help me rewire stuff. He can't do it. So the guy, pulls his yacht out of French territorial waters, drops an anchor, and My buddy comes in, repairs the thing, and back in he goes. And the rest of the guys, they're in Monte Carlo or wherever the heck they are Saint-Tropez, are waiting for 6 months for the local AV guy to get to their yacht.
Mm.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of a cultural, like the cultural attitudes, right? Because of my friends in Italy, right? Every time we hang out and talk, and they're always like, yeah, you Americans are really interesting because you guys are very optimistic, but you always like can like reinvent yourselves. It's like we have until we're basically 27, 28. And if we don't have a solid career locked in, we're essentially written off as social outcasts and failures. And so it's the cultural differences are also really interestingly different between more of the Western European side and the United States.
Yeah. And this is why Eastern Europe absolutely rocks. Like you get a lot of value being created now. Poland has a lot of growth. Romania has had a lot of growth. A great GDP increase, which means a lot of millionaires being minted. I mean, it's still small scale compared to the US, right? I think California has
we have the 5th biggest economy, which I still don't understand how we have the 5th biggest economy in the entire world if we were our own economy. Like that to me is like, and seeing how like mismanaged a lot of stuff has been in California, I'm just like how we've lucked our way into it. That still just makes me wonder like how is that even possible? Like, but again,
it must be all the tech though.
Well, tech is definitely a huge part of it, but we also have a huge amount of agriculture out here. Like 80% of the world's almonds are made in California. We also have a lot of aircraft industry. We have a lot of different industries here. Obviously, you know, Hollywood, entertainment, music, all that type of stuff. We've got a lot of that as well. And then, you know, definitely some military manufacturing as well. But yeah, California is a really, 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 I guess, as an economic power, they've got a pretty massive economy. And, you know, you rope that in with the U.S., we just have a really good geography, right? Like this was literally one of the most perfect places on the planet you could have like carved out to make yourself like a geopolitical superpower, because you have really, really great geography. It's also really great against like, you know, any type of invasion or anything like that. It's like to try and do a physical land grab. And then, yeah, we have a great economy and we have a very stable government, right? So those are kind of like the big things that you need to really become a, you know, true superpower that can, you know, have an empire.
I really hope you guys enjoyed that clip. If you want to watch the full-length podcast, you can find that over here, that clip's from. If you're newer to the channel, make sure you hit subscribe over here. And pinned down below in the top comment, you'll find a bunch of useful links to my website, my supplement line, books, and a bunch of other stuff. Have an amazing day. Peace out.